Hello, my name is Dylan Kiesling, and I'm a sixth grade member of the Wolfpack CubeSat development team in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. My colleague and cousin, Preston Maitland, is an eighth grade member of our team. Today, we would like to present to you our paper on the benefits of collaborative learning and cross-curricular approach. In 2015, the World Economic Forum published a report that focused on educational gaps in the modern-day society. This report outlined that in order to succeed in the rapidly evolving, technology-advanced world, students need more than just the academic knowledge. They also need the ability to communicate, collaborate, and problem solve. However, after a multi-year initiative, which included a study of over 100 countries, they found that students in many countries are not learning these skills. Specifically, the report outlined 16 critical skills that must be part of the 21st century, but have often been seen to be missing. So what are these 21st century skills? They include foundational literacies, which are core skills for everyday tasks, but also competencies and character qualities, which measure how the students approach complex challenges in changing environment. In looking at competencies, which are the means by which the students approach challenges, we can see that they include communication and collaboration. Based on the multi-year studies, the World Economic Forum claims that these competencies are essential to the 21st century students and workforce because they enable them to critically evaluate and convey knowledge, as well as work within a team. It is very important for the education community to be aware of the importance of these skills and teach them to schools at early age. In our presentation, we will focus on collaborative learning and how it can be maximized for a cross-curricular program. But first, I'd like to share a little bit about our team and how we use collaborative learning to achieve high results, both in education and in aerospace projects. Our team, called the Wolfpack, was created in 2015 as an after-school club and is currently made with middle and high school students. We learn things like orbital mechanics and complete aerospace projects, such as launching high-altitude air balloons and learning how to design, build, and launch small satellites called CubeSats. It was our team's goal to deploy a CubeSat into space within 3 years. And in December 2018, the Wolfpack became the first middle school team in America that built and launched a CubeSat satellite into space. We did this as part of NASA's CubeSat launch initiative. And since then, we have been continually working on many other CubeSat ideas. For example, last year, we submitted 3 CubeSat proposals to NASA, and we will find out in the coming weeks if any of them are selected. At the Wolfpack, we also complete many other projects that require teamwork and collaboration. For example, we recently submitted our group paper for the space settlement competition hosted by National Space Society. This project took several months and required collaborative work of many students who worked in smaller teams. 2 years ago, our Wolfpack team was the first global winner in the competition in the 8th grade category. So we are very excited to see how we did this year. As part of our ongoing work, we attend and present papers at many aerospace and educational conferences. Most recently in October, we presented at the International Astronautics Congress in Dubai. In January, we presented at the Hawaii International Conference on Education. And this summer, we plan to present at the COSPAR Scientific Assembly in Athens, Greece. As you can see on these images, we have been presenting our work at many conferences over the past 5 years, and we have a very high rate of student participation.
As my colleague Dylan has mentioned, collaborative learning is very important in education because through teamwork and collaboration, students can learn better together and accomplish greater goals. But it is very important to start teaching kids collaboration at an early age, so it can become a matter of nature and habit for them to work effectively in teams. There are so many benefits to collaborative learning. Not only does it allow for social interactions, but it actually increases the student's participation rate because bouncing ideas off each other is more interesting than learning on your own. It also increases the level of competition by combining kids in groups and letting them solve problems as a team. This competitive environment makes students want to work harder and learn more. Studies on collaborative learning first started emerging in the 1970s, where it was discovered that when learning together, students facilitated each other's learning. The study showed that when students are placed in groups of 4, learning together helped them learn better. The study found that when students were teaching others, it helped them solidify information for themselves, and also those who were being taught benefited because they were able to learn in simplified terms used by their peers. As part of a large-scale research, a group in 1995 conducted a meta-analysis of 63 studies that compared results of collaborative learning and individual problem solving. After reviewing these 63 studies, they found that 55 of them, which is 87%, confirmed stronger student learning outcomes in a collaborative environment. This was because during collaboration, group members exchanged ideas and were able to evaluate the problem from many angles to solve the problems more effectively. There are many other studies that have concluded that benefits of collaborative learning outweigh the individualized learning. A research in 1995 reviewed student achievements in both language and math at elementary schools that had a collaborative learning model. This research found that students in schools with collaborative learning models had much higher achievements than students attending traditional elementary schools. This study also found similar results for highly gifted students. They found that highly gifted students at collaborative learning schools achieved higher education results than the highly gifted students attending traditional elementary schools. A similar study in 1997 compared the test scores of grade school math students using collaborative learning and those using individualized learning. This study also found that collaborative learning students scored much higher on their standardized tests. Another advantage is when learning collaboratively, students can focus on their individual strengths in order to contribute to the group's success. A 1986 research found that when students were tasked based on their individual skills, it had a positive impact on the overall group performance results. This was because a complex task can be divided into smaller tasks among the students based on their abilities, and each student can shine in their own area of expertise. As a result, students achieve more as a group while also learning new skills from one another. Overall, collaborative learning has been proved to be a more successful way to help students learn than individualized learning or listening to a classroom lecture. Collaborative learning requires students to be accountable because they are responsible for their own learning in a group environment. It encourages social interaction because teachers act as facilitators instead of just giving lectures. However, it is very important that collaborative learning should start from an early age so that students can master the ability to work well with others before they become adults and start their careers. Our world has been evolving with technological advancements, and with that, the way students learn has also evolved. For example, nowadays students don't need to memorize every fact in school because that information is now available on the internet with the click of a button. And also, businesses across the world put more emphasis on finding employees that can collaborate and work in teams. Teamwork is important at work because employees can share information and complete tasks faster and better when working together. For example, a joint study of 1,100 companies found that those companies that promoted collaborative workspaces were 5 times more likely to achieve higher performance. The study also showed that employers were 5 times more likely to financially reward employees who are collaborative in nature. Since teamwork and collaboration play such an important part in our current job marketplace, it is even more important that schools implement models that teach kids collaboration and teamwork from an early age. Collaboration is a critical skill, which is just as important to future success as the foundational literacy skills.
Collaborative learning goes hand in hand with the cross-curricular approach, which applies to different academic fields at the same time. This allows students to learn the concepts in more depth. When used together, these methods not only complement each other, but work more effectively. This is because when students work together on projects that involve different subject fields, they are able to share their individual knowledge and make in more depth connections as a group. But it is important for the teachers to collaborate with each other as well. By working together, the teachers can accomplish 2 goals. First, they create an integrated curriculum to make learning more effective and reinforce material the students are learning in different classes. And 2, they create common projects so that students with different interests can work together and learn from each other's skill sets. Planning lessons together may be time-consuming for teachers initially, but in the end, it's actually more beneficial, not only for students, but for teachers as well. For example, a book published in 2010 documents numerous case studies conducted by a combination of teachers who worked together to develop an integrated curriculum. The teachers found this approach actually saved them time and also allowed them to dive more in depth in their respective subject fields. So how can teachers collaborate to create a cross-curricular approach? According to Ben Johnson, who's an educator and author of the book Teaching Students to Dig Deeper, cross-curricular approach should begin with alignment. This is when two classes are taught concurrently so students can learn the same foundational principles and reinforce the same material. This requires two teachers to collaborate and decide how the material will be covered, and make sure that students can receive credit for the material learned in both classes. This will also encourage students to study the material more in depth, benefiting their performance in both classes. For this to work, teachers must cooperate with each other. For example, a math and science teacher must agree on the method and time to teach the concept of motion, and then agree to help each other teach it. And finally, to ensure conceptual learning, it is essential that teachers have a high level of knowledge of both subjects and be able to teach them the underlying concepts. This is where them teaching can be the best approach, because it may be time-consuming for a single teacher to be an expert in two subjects. On our team, we use collaboration and cross-curricular approach by engaging students with many different interests and show them how they can use their skills to contribute to major aerospace projects. For example, some students like biology and conducting science experiments, while others are more interested in technology and like to build things, while others like to code. All of these different skills are important to developing and building a scientific research mission for a CUBE satellite. However, before we can do that, we need to write and submit a proposal to NASA. And this is where we can use students who love writing documents, figuring out finances and budgets, or creating 3D CAD models for the proposal. In addition to collaborating together while using our aerospace projects, we also collaborate to mentor other teams and share our knowledge. Over the past 2 years, we have worked with student teams in North Carolina, Nebraska, Hawaii, and Montana. Some of them we met at industry conferences and decided to form a partnership. For example, after working with a team from the University of Nebraska in 2020, we helped them develop their CubeSat mission proposal, which was selected by NASA last year and will launch into space in the next 5 years. We also have an outreach team that works with elementary students through different STEM activities. For example, by creating STEM activity books, they can help little kids learn to go to aerospace and through art and visualization. They also published a book called Let's Go to Space to teach younger readers about the International Space Station and rocket landings. Through these different methods, we can use collaboration to not only expand our knowledge, but share it with others to maximize education for many students and teams.
Hopefully, through our presentation, we have established the importance of collaborative learning. But where does the concept that collaborative learning come from? The theory behind it relates to Lev Vygotsky's educational theory, which states that social interactions are fundamental aspects of learning. He was a prominent physiologist in the early 1900s, whose work has become the foundation for research and theory in cognitive development and sociocultural theory. Also in the 1900s, educational theorists such as John Dewey tried to change fundamental approaches to teaching and learning. Dewey was the most significant educational thinker of his era, known for his progressive education theory. This theory claimed that students learn more effectively through interaction and experience, and has been supported through countless studies and real-life experiences over the past 100 years. Collaboration is an essential skill that all people need in their lives. And as we tried to show in this presentation, it must be taught from an early age, because just like any other critical skill, students need to develop and improve their collaborative skills as they transition from elementary to middle school, from high school into college, and eventually into their careers, where teamwork becomes essential. To maximize the benefits of collaborative learning, schools must increase the cross-curricular approach. The traditional elementary system may create a mindset that there is no connection between different subjects, but that is simply not the case. Allowing students to make connections between the subjects will help them learn topics more in depth and analyze problems from different perspectives. The educational system has been making significant improvements over the past century. However, it is important to realize that there is still more work to be done. Placing more emphasis on collaborative and cross-curricular learning will allow students to develop the 21st century skills that they need to succeed as they transition into adult lives and join the workforce. Thank you for watching our presentation, and please feel free to reach out to us if you are interested in learning more about our team or how to join our program.